Well, I can't guarantee whether we're going to talk about cats today or not, but we are going to talk about internet scams, and this particular one is homegrown. Just imagine if you owned a horse and you were looking around and you saw it advertised on Gumtree as being for sale, but in fact you weren't the one making the sale. How would you feel? Well, that's exactly what happened to Bree Smith from Ipswich, which is just outside of Brisbane. Bree, welcome to Pet Talk Radio. Why don't you describe to us in a nutshell exactly what happened?
Wow. Short story long, okay, on Wednesday, a fortnight ago, I saw one of my horses advertised on Gumtree. I got a friend to inquire about it. Yes, absolutely, it was my horse. On the Friday, I contacted the stock squad, said, yes, this is absolutely my horse, no questions about it now, blah, blah, blah. That, for them, honestly, it just seemed like it was all a little bit too hard. On the Sunday, they contacted me and said that they'd decided they wanted to put cameras over there. On the Monday, I went over there to actually check the horses because it's an agistment paddock literally 5 minutes up the road. And the thieves actually drove past me with my horses in their horse float.
You're kidding.
Nope, and the one that they actually stole, they took a photo in my paddock, advertised her on Gumtree before they'd even loaded her up in the float and stole her.
That's outrageous.
I know.
Okay.
I was just so lucky because I was actually on the phone to the stock squad fella when they drove past me.
Extraordinary.
I know. I've used all my good karma. There's no chook raffles for me, no lotto tickets, no nothing.
For those of us that don't deal with the stock squad on a daily basis, who's that?
Well, they're a section of the police force that deal purely with matters of, shall we say, farming-related stuff.
Right.
Cattle, horses, farming equipment, all that sort of stuff.
You said they didn't seem terribly interested at first, and then they took a renewed interest. Why was that, do you think?
Well, I think because the horses hadn't actually been stolen. It was an anomaly, I suppose, the horse was advertised for sale, but it was still on my property.
Okay, sorry, now the penny drops, because I was thinking, all right, why weren't they interested? But that's unbelievable. Why would anyone do that? That's like putting your house up for sale when it's not up for sale.
Well, I think what it was actually they were kids, they're 19 or something.
All right.
Actually had quite a nice little scam going. They had the one horse, the first horse advertised was actually advertised under 3 different usernames. But if you opened those ads, they had 20 or 30 things for sale, from saddles to bridles to car parts, advertised from cans to Gundawindi to tweed heads. So I really, didn't think that they would steal the horses. It was more about stealing your money. Yeah.
Wow.
So they really caught us by surprise when they actually took the horses.
So really ultimately this is an internet scam.
Yes, absolutely.
And it could happen with a dog or a cat or anything.
And you know what? I buy a lot of horses off the internet. We are a paint stud. We buy a lot of horses from interstate. I just buy them off photos off the internet.
Yeah.
And it's never even occurred to me, and I never sort of thought of the other side of it, that, that it could not be legitimate and above board.
So what's been the upshot of all this? Have the police laid any charges against these thieves?
Yes, they're getting done for stealing the horses, but because they're kids and it's first offences, they will only be getting a fine for that.
19 is hardly a kid.
Well, that's my opinion too. And the fact is that they actually engaged a third party to pick up the horses. So for me, that's intense. They'd really thought about it, because they didn't actually take the horses themselves. They paid somebody else to pick them up.
I'm just absolutely stunned.
This is new age entrepreneurs.
Yep. Yep.
So what have Gumtree done about this?
Well, they have been the most unhelpful, uncooperative, and they've really annoyed me, because I know there's other people that have been conned. I've put up a couple of ads on Gumtree about, this horse was advertised as stolen, but these people also had saddles, bridles, etc. If you've been conned, please contact me, because it is a current criminal investigation. Of course, the more people that say they've been robbed, the more charges these people will get, and might as well keep going, keep the ball rolling and get everybody on board.
Yeah.
And Gumtree, every time within 5 minutes, will pull my ads down and tell me that it's not part of their advertising or whatever you want to call it. And I've even sent an email to Gumtree saying, well, this is the officers in charge, this is their contact details, perhaps you yourself could put something up so that people that have been caught can come forward.
One of the organisations I believe could help is ACMA, which is the Australian Communications and Media Authority. They deal with internet scams as well.
I went to a Current Affair, which is a local 6 o'clock one here, and I was quite surprised that on their first page, one of the biggest stories is Gumtree scammers.
Wow.
I thought maybe I should have looked there first.
That's extraordinary. Now, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, if they recognise that perhaps they might be part of this scamming that's going on, how would they do that? Just go to your website?
I have a Facebook page for my paint horses, and they can find me on that, and they can find a lot of my whinging about Gumtree and these little thieves on that.
Ah, you're a whinger. You're from Queensland.
Yeah, absolutely, because I can tell you for the first few days I was just absolutely floored that they'd even have the cheek to go and steal my horses.
Well, I'm amazed too. I'm flabbergasted.
Like as I said, the horse they took on the Monday, they actually took photos in my paddock, because I can clearly see it's my paddock, and put a big description of her and all this, have to go, blah, 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 moving house and all this sort of stuff. And they hadn't even taken the horse off the property yet.
Wow.
And then they followed through with it and actually loaded her up and drove away with her.
Gee.
But you've got her back now, haven't you?
Well, they're still currently seized by the stock squad, but they've been kind enough to allow us to seize them on a private property, because it actually, where they took the horse to, ended up only being a few kilometres from a good friend of mine, because both those girls, the mares, are pregnant, so we didn't want to overstress them and move them and too much changes. So it was that, or they had to go to the actual stock squad at Forest Hill, which is quite a distance away, and then I wouldn't be able to feed them, see them, check on them. So they were happy to compromise with us, so I was happy with that.
Well, let's see if any of our Pet Talk Radio listeners are able to come to the party with some more information. Thanks, Bree.
Thank you so much for your time.
Well, it was Bree Smith. Wow, what an amazing story.
Unbelievable. The lengths that people go to make a buck.
Oh, exactly.
Ridiculous.
Gives me a great idea, actually.
Don't go
I love how you noticed that it was an entrepreneurial skill, and they're such young people. If only we could harness the skills that they have in turning a dollar, then maybe, Australia would be rip-roaring through this economic depression that we're currently about to jump
But
into.
I think what we've got to remember is it's not just horses. It could happen to any of us, or cats and dogs. We don't know when we're going to see
I should
them.
go outside and check Jess on the back of the ute and just make sure she's okay.
Absolutely. Is she going to bark if anyone steals it?
And that was an exclusive for Pet Talk Radio.
It absolutely was. And if you've got a story like that, please go to Bree's website. No. Please come to our site, our Facebook page, which is Facebook.com/Pet Talk Radio.